What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nintendo Land. Well, it's that season again where we start talking about possible Nintendo Directs. Now, Nintendo has skipped a pretty good chunk of this year without too many announcements. Since the April Nintendo Direct for Switch 2, we haven't had anything in May, June, July, and pretty much it looks like August is not going to have anything either, as we're already on the 21st, approaching September very quickly. Now, with that said, I think almost everybody in the world is expecting some sort of September Nintendo Direct. We also have brand new rumors which could be pointing to a Nintendo Direct very, very soon, but I also want to talk about why I believe this upcoming Direct is probably the most important for Nintendo, even more important than their first one. Real quick, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Nintendo. And yeah, let's see how many people we can get to subscribe from this one video. We are trying to reach 380,000 for our total goal of 400k by the end of the year, and only you can make that happen. So let's just see how many we can get on today's video if you're really excited for this Direct. But let's talk about it, because man, we have gotten almost every single Nintendo Direct type you could possibly get in the last couple of months. Outside of a general, we've gotten indie worlds, partner showcases, game-specific directs with Donkey Kong Bonanza, and we even got a Sakurai Presents direct with Kirby Air Riders, and we have multiple Pokemon Presents under our belt. We pretty much have seen it all. I think the only thing we really haven't gotten is like a mini direct, which I don't even know if they do those anymore. As far as release date announcements or even new game announcements, it's been pretty bare still, and a lot of people are writing for this September direct to be huge, and it seems like the fan base is kind of divided right now, where so many people are completely satisfied and are having patience and everything is perfectly fine, and they think there's nothing wrong and that there's still games to come out and games to play. Where there's the other side that feels like Nintendo isn't really marketing great. They're not advertising their games, they're not giving release dates, they're not having presentations when they should be in this first year of the console, and they're not letting their fans know what's to come. Now, I fall in the latter, unfortunately, because I just feel like it's just been meh of a generation so far. I know you can't really say generation when it's only been a couple months since Switch 2 came out, but you know what I'm saying. Just the general start. We've had Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, which are huge games, but Mario Kart World obviously didn't hit on all cylinders with many people, myself included, so really Donkey Kong Bonanza feels like my only huge, massive, exciting game that I've gotten on this platform so far. So I'm definitely looking forward to the future. I'm still looking forward to Metroid Prime 4, and I would love to have a release date, and I'm still looking forward to see what's the next huge AAA game from Nintendo. When's this next 3D Mario? When's this next Animal Crossing, Smash Bros, Mario Maker, Luigi's Mansion, even Splatoon Raiders? What's going on with that game? There's so much question and so much wonder that I have about the rest of this year and about next year. I really need answers, and especially if people are forking over $450 for this new console and only have 2 games under their belt. Because yes, we have games coming out for this holiday season, but the games coming out for this holiday season, to me, really aren't that massive. 2 of the games, which we hope one of them is actually coming out, is a Switch 1 and a Switch 2 title. That is Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon Legends ZA. And as for original Switch 2 games, we only have Kirby Air Riders and Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. And as I am excited for both of those games, let's face it, those 2 aren't necessarily gigantic, massive games. And something I've been saying for a while now is I think Splatoon Raiders is one of my most anticipated games of all time. I genuinely cannot wait for this game, and I want to see more and learn more, but Nintendo really isn't giving up anything. They just dropped a random little intro trailer with really no gameplay, a couple months ago, and that's really about it. That's all we heard of it. So this September Direct for a lot of us is a huge Direct. Like, this has to show us what we bought the console for. This has to show us release dates for the rest of this year. Give us super exciting things to look forward to for next year. We know that Mario's 40th anniversary is coming up and probably going to be celebrated next month. So we need something out of Mario. We need Mario to actually show up and go crazy. So I'm really, and I think a lot of people are finally really expecting to finally see that 3D Mario. I genuinely don't know how you have a 40th anniversary and don't show 3D Mario, especially how long it's been. Yes, I'm going to be upset about it. I don't care. Come on. Can we all agree that if 3D Mario isn't at Mario's 40th anniversary presentation or direct or whatever they have, that there's something going on with that game? However, there is a source now that's come up talking about a Nintendo Direct coming soon, and that is the YouTuber Switchforce. Odds are you probably heard of him, and he actually came out, I think, about a month ago when that Indie World was announced, and right before it said that we would be getting a Direct that week, and even clarified that it was going to be an indie showcase and it wasn't going to be the big one, and a couple days later, it actually happened. So right now, now everybody's eyes are kind of looking at Switchforce and seeing what the heck he's talking about. And the other day, he took to Twitter once again and stated, before Jeff takes the stage at Gamescom, the general Nintendo Direct we've all been waiting for is earlier than you'd expect, and on a day you wouldn't anticipate. That led the comments to be speculating. Somebody said, so it has to be in August because that would be earlier than we'd expect, because everybody's expecting it in September. And Switchforce says, no August, not that early. Another comment says, well, if it's in September, how can anyone not guess that? And Switchforce says, September is a big month. Someone else states, hopefully the general Nintendo Direct is next week. Obviously, he says no, because it's not in August. So what? So ignore my monthly plans here, like my allergy checkup and vacation, but yes. What in the world does Switchforce mean by earlier than expected and on a day that would shock us? I don't really know. I mean, naturally, I would say, well, one day that would be very strange to have a Nintendo Direct is on 9/11, on the second Thursday of the week, but that's still not really earlier than expected. I think once you start getting into the second week, it's just way past earlier than expected, which to me leaves just 1 week, and that's the first week of September. Now, we do have a 3-day window where Nintendo Directs normally happen. It's on Tuesday, Wednesdays, or Thursdays. And with him saying that September is a big month, I gotta start looking at what is a day that doesn't make sense, that's also early as possible in my mind. To me, that could be Monday on Labor Day and potentially maybe even Friday on the 5th. Those are the only 2 dates that genuinely make sense, and if it's sooner than we'd expect, I'd say the very first day of September would make the most sense. It would also make sense on that day, considering the fact that we've never really ever had a general Nintendo Direct, or I think any Direct, on a Monday before. But Nate the Hate chimes in on this, and he's one of the only sources that we can 100% believe right now, because he's been 100% spot on this entire year with everything Switch 2. But he comes in because someone asked, any thoughts on this, Nate? Nate states, unless you had a set date and day in mind, it doesn't mean much. And I have to agree, unfortunately, just because this doesn't really point to anything. I mean, anyone could say, hey, we're going to have a Direct early in September. I mean, we normally have Directs in September, so having one early isn't really shocking. It's like, okay, sooner than later, but I don't know. Unless it's on a wacky day like a Monday or even a weekend, then I don't understand what this could mean. Yesterday, someone asked, do you know when the general Nintendo Direct will be? Towards Nate, and Nate states, I have some info that I need to verify further. So it seems like the word is starting to get around, and Nate could have some information for us soon, which would make me feel a lot better about this presentation happening. Now, hopefully this stuff happens when I'm not on vacation, because it seems like every year Nintendo does something on the week I go. And I try to move it back as far in September as I possibly can, but it always ends up happening. So hopefully I can get away with it this year for the first 2 weeks. But if this is the case, it almost makes me think that Nintendo's going to have a big general Nintendo Direct the first week of September, and that second week they're going to have a big Mario's 40th anniversary Direct. Because why else? Why in the world would Nintendo want to have a Direct so early and also on such a wacky day? That would completely tell me that something else is planned. If Nintendo comes out and announces this Direct like at the very, very beginning of September and it's on a weird day like a weekend or Monday or even a Friday, then that would kind of tell me that they're hurrying up and trying to hurry up and get this information out so that way they can have something else in the month the week after. That's the only thing that would make sense to me. And what else would it be besides Mario's 40th anniversary? Like I said at the beginning of this video, I definitely expect to hear something about this 3D Mario game, maybe a couple spin-off games to look forward to for next year, and more stuff about the movie would make a lot of sense. Believe it or not, we also don't have any major or even minor releases in September for Nintendo Switch 2 right now, so maybe this is where we get some shadow drops, maybe there's some type of remake or remaster of an old Mario game. I know a lot of people are holding out for Mario Galaxy 2 in some capacity, so maybe that's where we get that here and they just shadow drop it here in the month of September. Who knows what's going to happen, but I think this plan actually makes the most sense, because originally I thought Nintendo would have a general Direct in August, so that way September can be all focused to Mario, but maybe they're both going to be in the same month, and there's been a lot of rumors recently that September is going to have multiple Nintendo Directs. But either way, at least for me, I think this Nintendo Direct is going to be the most important, and I'm trying not to get my hopes up too high because I did that for the Switch 2 presentation, and I still was left a little bit like uncertain. I don't know, I really liked what I saw, but still at the same time I was expecting maybe a little bit more, different style of games than what were announced. I don't know, call me a baby, I don't care. That's just kind of where my mind was after waiting for so long for Switch 2. and hearing all the rumors about all these games coming. I know, don't listen to rumors, yada, 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 but still. Yes, I'm excited to see what's next in this next phase for Switch 2, and hopefully this is where we get the blowout. This is where we get the huge games to look forward to. We can finally have something to talk about and speculate and just be excited about for next year, maybe. I'm just ready. Like, please, Nintendo, just unload, show me everything that you've been working on, and just really surprise Switch 2 fans. I think this September is a massive, massive important time. And honestly, if it's just a couple of games and nothing super exciting still, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this console, honestly. So, yeah, this is almost like a make or break for me personally. Once again, I say for me because a lot of people take it out of context and start throwing facts in my face. Like, look, this is my opinion. This is how I feel, and it's how a lot of people feel online. Even Switchforce made a whole video about it on his channel, how he's felt like this generation so far has been kind of lackluster. So, Nintendo could easily fix that. Like, you know, a lot of people have also mentioned it's only been like the first 6 months for this year. That, you know, we still have to count the first 6 months of next year since the console came out in the middle of this year. So, that first year lineup is still moving on to the beginning of next year. So maybe the whole first half of next year is just banger after banger after banger, and we just have to wait and see what Nintendo's planning, and they're just being very secretive right now. But let me know in the comments down below what you think about this Nintendo Direct bonanza happening potentially in September. Are you excited? Are you worrisome? Are you like me, where you're kind of on the fence with this console so far? Are you super, super excited for this next 3D Mario, and is it finally time for me to be at rest with this game? Let me know down below. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and like always, I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.